Hello my dear friends, this is a PaintyKat. My name is Catherine. Today we're going to paint with watercolor and I want to demonstrate you a sketch I'm gonna use today. You can find it on a Patreon and print, and try to keep in memory where we're gonna create middle parts, centers of the flowers, because there we will put a little bit of yellow here on wet layer. This paper right now I have in a block. I didn't remove it from the block as a single sheet. It's kind of, it's very useful because paper attached with a glue all around on a block. So while we working wet on wet, it's fixed still on each edge, and we will remove the sheet only when we will complete and we will dry our painting in the end. So we don't have to fix it with extra tape. Just don't remove it from the start from the block. I really like this paper when it's fixed, because in a summer season, we all like go out, right, and try to create some fast sketches, maybe with watercolor. So it's nice to have this type of albums. And it's just a wet and wet about colors. First, we using today really, you need very watery consistency. Any colors you want to use, try to keep them very light, very soft and clear. About colors, I use carmine, I use violet right now, and before it was blue. I already did opening for my watercolor box. You can find the whole review and the swatches for my colors on my channel. And I just want to let you know, you can use on this step, you can use any colors you like. Result, flowers will depend from this layer, but not exactly. I mean, we will cover it with many layers on top, but it's just giving a tiny, beautiful and clear colors from a background, it's giving very soft color lighting to it. I like to mix cold tone red. I have some of them. It's Mallow red, it can be carmine. Also, I will dot a little bit. Everything you have in your mind, everything you want to try, just go for it. But just remember, consistency watery and colors light. That's it. I will work not just with a single layer. Look at it. I'm drying right now with a hair dryer, going all around first and after, watching what areas need to get extra hot air. That's it, all dry. If you will take a look on a sketch, you will find we're gonna have green leaves and stems almost in a center, on top and on a bottom part. You don't have to follow, you don't have to find exact area. Just close to those areas, we're going to create a stems and a leaves. About greens, it's a green color, it can be yellow green, and it can be emerald. Again, it's up to you. And also this layer of green will give a tiny little accents in the end. And yes, we will go on top of it with extra yellow later. We can use any techniques right now you can see I can control some of water on a paper with the napkins. We can give also some extra texture into it. And I already mentioned before, choose kind of yellow you like and put it there where we're gonna have flowers. You don't need to find exact place, but a little bit, somewhere close to it will do. About yellow colors, and by the way, look, I'm blending everything again with extra water. So I'm using wet in wet with many layers. I just did drying before for first layer, and now it's possible to wet again and to get those colors you like. So about yellow, it's it's important because yellow can be tricky. Cadmium lemon and cadmium yellow medium, they are half translucent, so if you will put a fair amount of it, you're risking to get kind of thick layer and not a shining spot of yellow. So be careful. Again, just want to remind to you, use extra water. We have to, because yellow really shining if it's layer of it really thin and watery. This way yellow really will look lightweight and shining. As for me personally, I like more right now cadmium yellow medium. So on my paper you can see this color right now. This is not a lemon, this is a yellow medium, because in my view it's combining more beautiful with the carmine and PaintyKat. It's giving some tiny orangey areas which I like, but again, for any future paintings on this step, you can follow your taste, you can mix those colors you prefer personally. You can see now my paper dried completely and colors, they're very light, isn't it? When we're working wet and wet, in the end, when paper dried, all colors will look lighter than before when we was working with it. Next step, I'm gonna transfer sketch lines to my paper, and you can find tutorial about it, how to transfer with this method. You can find it on a channel. In general, I put a layer of pencil graphite on the back side of my sketch, and I'm just following every line on my sketch, transfer it with pencil graphite. I like this way of transferring because I don't have to remove a sheet of paper from the block. It's not possible to use LED panel for transferring this way because we have a block, right? But also I like this way because all lines, in the end, all lines we're transferring will turn out into the pencil lines, just a normal pencil lines, so we will be able to fix it. Any areas maybe we will like, or we can change it somehow. Everything we usually do with a normal pencil drawing on a paper. This process will take a time, so plan for it at least 10 minutes or so. Drawing not hard to do, but it's pretty lots of lines, isn't it? All lines transferred. As for me, if I would paint it for myself, maybe as a present, for final result, for me those lines enough, visible enough, but probably for you on a video, lines not so visible, so I will double it with just a normal pencil. As for you, if you just a beginner and you trying this type of technique first time, negative technique, I would recommend to you create really well visible sketch lines. If you already know what to do or what's gonna happen in the future, you can follow just a slightly visible lines. In the end, lines have to be invisible. But in the process of negative technique, we will cover some of them with a very dark watercolor, but not all of them, and I will demonstrate to you what to do, how we can clean them, how we can fix them before watercolor will be put on paper. Just let me follow all the lines. Hopefully right now all lines well visible for you. Again, I'm doing extra mainly for the tutorial, because I believe on a video you can see it really well after just transferring. And it's taking time. I'm doing it right now with the speed up, because it's, kind of boring to watch the whole process in real time. But about painting, we will not speed up at all. We will take a look on the process, and we will talk about it in all details. I lost a little bit, like 5 minutes of my video, because my camera was low on the battery. But here we have 3 flowers, so I will repeat the center of the flower again. First of all, I cleaned lines of a pencil with knitted rubber. I added them slightly visible just for me. I added clear water in the center of my flower, and right now I'm going for cadmium orange. Again, this is a half translucent watercolor, so just add watery consistency of it, and I'm blending all around. Mostly I added in the center, I add this color in the center. Also I add here metallic red. I like how they combining together, orange, yellow and metallic red. Beautiful. Also I will create this tiny 5 petals center here. This gonna be a mallow flowers. Real mallow flowers have a little bit different pastel, but I will create this shape of it because I personally like it. And look, I'm going with a dry and clear napkin around wet area. I'm removing extra water, and this way line between new layer, wet layer and old layer, previous layer, really looking soft. Let's repeat it again. Removed extra pencil with knitted rubber, add clear water. Wet area right now a little bit bigger than I will cover with the color. I'm adding cadmium orange and metallic red, forming pastel. I'm waiting a little bit till color will spread around wet area, and I'm removing extra water from the paper. That's it. This way, color looking really soft. And let's do it again. Please check what are you working with really clear. So if you noticed water in your container already contains too much watercolor inside, pigment, different type of them, just remove it for fresh. So I added water, I added cadmium orange and metallic red in the center. I'm waiting till color spreading all out, and I'm removing extra wetness with a dry and clear napkin. That's it. Right now we blend centers for future flowers, yes, we will give them more depth later, more colors. Right now it's enough because we can't judge how deep colors we need until we didn't add negative layer, the darkest layer here. And we're ready for petals. We have here 3 flowers, so just be patient. We will paint it one by one, so you have to follow them one by one. Colors have to be light, clear, and you have to blend it really well from color to nothing. So I started with the blue. And as soon as I went to the area I have to blend it, I cleared my brush, I bring clear water and I blended this petal. Next petal, I'm following the edge of the petal with the tip of my brush, color the same, it's a blue. For petals I will use today cobalt blue, blue and violet, these 3. Close to the edge, petals looking more dark, like this. Consistency watery, really translucent. And we blending color softly. Really, really watery, very soft, very gentle color. Following the edge. And I can go from one color to another. You know, not all colors need to be on a palette. Some of them looking more beautiful if we go in for gradient. For example, I can start with blue, a little bit, tiny area of blue. After I'm switching to the violet, and after violet I can switch to the cobalt blue, for example. Also, I can skip some areas on a petal if I like those colors that I have from the previous layer. You can see there some yellow, which I like. So if I'm gonna keep this light and beautiful yellow clear, I will just not cover it with blue at all. Remember, here we have many half translucent layers on top of each other. It's giving kinda like a rainbow light with many colors in it. But you can count, you can imagine what color you're gonna get in the end. For example, if I'm painting on a yellow and going with a blue, combination of it will give a green. If I'm going on this pink area and I'm going with a blue and a violet, I'll get more violet area, more violet color on a petal. Like this. And yes, we have to continue, we have to repeat this process for all petals we have on a composition. So just take your time, enjoy colors, use those colors you really like. Your flowers can be different, not same as I'm painting right now. If you more like pink flowers, maybe orange flowers, you can go for it. Tutorial gonna stay the same, but you can repeat it with different results. Depends from the colors you mixing. This way, for this flower on the left side, on the left bottom side, I'm going with a big area of metallic red. After, I'm switching into the blue. Consistency watery all the time. very light. This layer gonna be the lightest cause next we're gonna go for deeper, for medium, let's say medium contrast, and the third one gonna be the darkest. And the darkest we will create area around flowers. Let's go this petal. I will start with a spot of blue. Next, I'm joining Mallow red and blending colors all around like this, blending together and going to the no color with a clear brush. Check this out. I have a napkin in my box of watercolor. As soon as in my left hand I have a palette, I have to keep napkin close to me and to find area for cleaning my brush useful for the process. So I find out this way when I put it in a box of watercolor. It's really nice for me, really handy. And look, as soon as I need to blend colors, I'm cleaning my brush, touching napkin, and with a dry brush, dry and clean brush, I can blend colors. A little bit of violet will sit well here. I'm not gonna touch the lightest side of the petal here because I have right now wet area close to it. I don't want some accidental color spreading. So I have to wait till all areas around will dry, and later I will also add color into the last area on this flower on this side of the petal. This way, let's pay some attention for other flowers. We have a tiny bud here on top. It's just a side view, so we don't need to create center with pastel. Small one, you know. So I will combine here some pink colors and blue colors and spreading all around. If you're going a little bit out of the edge, you don't have to worry about it, because later we will cover areas with the darker and darker colors. So we will cover these tiny issues, tiny mistakes. See, I'm going with a darker color right now, because it's the petals under the top flower. And this way, edge of the first flower looking more accurate. I'm fixing the shape of the edge with a darker color. And let's blend. Green going into the blue. I have some Mallow red under, so it's giving some violet shades. Blending colors into the middle of the flower. Let's go further. I'm going around green leaves. Third flower here, as soon as it's under the main one, under the center flower, this one can be much darker than the first one, at least an area when they are one on top of another. like this. And let's blend into the lighter colors. Here it's a yellow again, so be careful. Give nice amount of water into it. Yellows mostly have a white base. It's a white-based watercolor, so this type can cover previous layers if you will go for thick consistency. We will do it later. I will demonstrate to you what cadmium orange can do, how well it's actually can cover a darker colors darker than it. Rainbow petal, woohoo! I have here blue and a green and a yellow and a little bit of metallic red and an orange, everything in one petal. Let's go for the next. I will start with metallic red, blend it a little bit. Fixing and creating more sharp line for the petal of top flower and blending colors into the area of a petal. That's it. I believe we're done with the petals layer, and next we're gonna go for leaves layer. This way we're mixing greens and we're looking for darker color, not as light as we went while we painted petals. Greens gonna look darker, but not the darkest. And again, don't be too worried if you're going out of the lines with greens, because later we will fix it with a darker negative layer. Maybe on my palette this green looking very deep, but it's not so. Look, on a paper it's looking just a middle shaded, let's say like this. And I don't have to paint leaves and stems separately, because later I will divide them. I will just fill area of greens in one go. Don't have to paint them one by one. By the way, I like how greens going into the violet. So look, I started with the green, but let's go into the violet like this. This stem have a violet color, and I combine it in a wet area with green. Looking beautiful, isn't it? Let's go next stem. Let's get some green, because here gonna be a leaf later. And again, I don't have to separate them. Same with the petals. Right now, look, I didn't separate petals one by one. They all looks as just a colorful area with no lines of single petals inside. We will do it later on a detailing layer in the end. Same with the greens right now. Just fill it with the color. You can mix green there, a tiny bit of orange, for example, a little bit of cadmium yellow also. like this. This leaf gonna be not dark actually, so here consistency a bit more watery than for others. Inside of the leaf, this is a wet in wet technique. Like we creating wet area and we put different colors, so they mixing between each other with the water. Let's add some cadmium yellow, medium. Let's blend it like this. And look, I don't have to be accurate right now. I can go out of the leaf with this green. And also I will mix a bit of blue. Something like that. Let's go the next. Let me get some green. And here we have a tiny little flower. I will mix yellow into the color. And it's done. This one very tiny. And blending everything in the area. Done. Let me add a bit of violet, because I don't know, I like how they combine together. Looking pretty, green and a violet. Let's go next. This technique is easy and it's nice for beginners, but as soon as we have many details here, many stems, many leaves, not just one flower, it's 3 of them, and also it's 3 buds and 3 tiny buds. Right now it's a group of tiny buds here. Look, I'm going from the orange into the yellow and into the green around, like this. Let's repeat for second one. I will start with orange, go with the cadmium yellow, and these two turning into the green in the end, like this. As soon as this area wet inside, colors will blend together by the water. Again, starting with orange, going into the yellow. This is a lemon yellow this time. And in the end, it's just a green, like this. And let it dry. So as soon as we have many flowers here, many stems and leaves, tutorial taking 2 hours. If you're in a hurry, I recommend to you to get just 1 flower from the sketch and maybe 2-3 leaves, and go with a simple composition. If you up to the whole painting, it can take from 2 till 3 hours, I believe. Not because it's long to paint, it's because it's a long preparation step. Those steps, when we were working wet on wet, we were drying, again wet on wet, it was those preparation layer for future flowers. It's really taking time, I'd say. If I have in mind to go for Syria for many compositions with the same negative technique close to each other. For example, different type of flowers, but they gonna be put it in interior all together, like 2 or 3 maybe. I'm going this way. First, I'm preparing like 2 or 3 sheets of paper with the colors on top, with a light basic color layer, and later in one go I'm going with actually painting like this. Very, very helping to save some time, because this drying, process, wet again, add color, dry again, taking time. Look how beautifully green turning into the violet sometimes, isn't it? These 2 leaves mostly have not green, it's have a violet and a bit of metallic red. And I think it's looking interesting. Personally, I like those type of roses, when roses have not just the green leaves, but have a tiny purple accents on it. So I like this kind of greens when plants have it. We're done here, but we have lots of leaves on the up left corner. By the way, I missed a tiny petal here, and it's gonna be an orange, same as we did for tiny buds on the right side, and the same tiny orange into the yellow, into the green for another one here. And also I blended a little bit of metallic red. I don't know why. Just, I think it's looking interesting. I like to combine many colors all together, giving shiny rainbow result. Also here we're gonna have a blue tiniest bud. Let me add more green, because I'm running out of it, and let's go for the next green leaf. When I'm following outline of a petal, I'm trying to be accurate, trying to follow exactly the line. Then I'm following the line of the leaf. And filling area in the center, like this. Don't you think this green leaf looking a little bit darker as it have to be? Let's lift some watercolor with a napkin, and let's add a bit of yellow into it, like this. Not just a single flat color. We're able to mix many colors in a wet area. Let's go next. Let's see what we have to do. I'm running out of green, so I have to mix a bit more on my palette. Also adding cadmium lemon into it. And let's go with stem and small leaves. Here on top, almost out of composition, gonna be the extra bud. So it's orange again. And let me spread green on the whole area of stems and leaves here. My brush is big enough so it's able to handle lots of watercolor inside. If you are a beginner, I recommend to go for smaller brush. With a smaller brush, it's possible to control lines of watercolor better. But the back side of it, small brushes just can't handle, can't keep same amount of water with the color as big brushes can. So as for me, I prefer really a big size of watercolor brushes, but with a very pointy tip. This way, with the pressure on my brush, I can control line, and also I'm able to fill really big areas with watercolor. So it's up to you. You have to analyze your own skill and choose what better for you. Steps are the same for everyone, for me and for you, no matter of the skills, but size of brushes you choose, you choosing because of your skill. Again, smaller brushes easier to control, but bigger brushes giving you ability to fill really big areas with color. If you choosing a small brushes, again, nothing wrong with that, that's fine. And for really lots of years, I'd say for really long period, I've been painting with the small brushes by myself, but you have to go back to your palette more times than I do, more often, because you have to get a new portion of color and put it on a paper. So time depends from this process. We're spending a bit of time each turn we going back to palette. So for those who choosing small brushes, your tutorial can be longer, your painting will be longer. For those who already able to handle big brushes, it's possible to do the same painting but with a shorter time. It's just a matter of time. More you paint, better control you have. I'd say if you can paint daily, your process will go really fast. Like in a half year, you already will see visible progress. If it's not possible for you, you haven't so much time, I'd recommend to paint at least twice in a week. So one in one go, I recommend to create one painting. It can be more easy or it can be, a little bit more difficult, but still at least 2 paintings in a week will give you a really noticeable progress. And from my experience, from my students, I'd say if person planning at least twice in a week, planning painting lessons, it's also forming, I'd say, habit to paint. So even if you will not paint in other days, but because you will think about future lessons, you will think about what you would like to paint, what painting to choose, what tutorial to choose, technique, material. So it's also will give you experience. We're getting a painting experience not only when we're really working with a brush. We're getting the same while we're thinking about some moments, planning something, also when we're visiting galleries, museums. It's very nice for your inspiration. Go there, check paintings you like, try to analyze why you like it or why you don't. It's also important because when I analyze what I don't like from paintings of other artists, that's mean I'm trying to understand what I don't want to do. Right, so in the end I'm choosing the single right way for me. We almost done with a layer of greens and buds. Some details here kind of tiny, especially outline of green leaves here. Leaves can have more simple shape, but mallow leaves, they have a similar outline as my leaves here, so I will keep them. If you wanna create similar flowers but faster, you also can change sketch. Go for more easier way, just go not for zigzag outline for your leaves, go with just a smooth one with a single line, you know, curved line with very pointy end on a leaf. But if pointy end on a leaf it's just a single, you will spend less time than when you have lots of points. Alright, we completed leaves, also leaves and flowers right now. And on a next step, we have to divide those stems and leaves that crossing each other. I'm mixing green and violet, or green and cobalt blue, and with a really dark shade I'm creating first a line dividing those part of stem that going behind the leaf on top of it, and blending color on a stem. Also, I will create with the same shade, I will create shadow under the flower on a stem. More cobalt blue, more green, and the same. Here I'm gonna have a shadow on a stem, so I put it first, clean my brush and blending color down like this. As soon as my stem meeting a leaf, they crossing each other, I'm not touching area of a leaf on top, I just blended darker color on a stem. Same under it. Areas here kinda tiny, cause I have also tiny green leaf crossing this stem here. And right now you can see layers and layers of stems and leaves. Let's do it again. Here we have two leaves, right? Let's divide them. I'm following a outline of the green leaf first with a darker color, like this, cleaning my brush and blending color. Blending softly, and right now you can see already, you can notice that there is not just a single green area with the leaves. Right now, different leaves visible. Don't forget about shadows under the flowers, like this. I will dot a little bit more pigment to give it, you know, more deep shadow. Let's go next. cobalt blue plus a little bit of blue plus green. Let's go for next. I'm avoiding tiny stems. So stem here will look very light, and I'm creating shadow under it and blending it out with a clear brush. That's it. Next one. It's looking magical, but before we already have done lots of work. Right now, process looking very easy and fast, isn't it? We already created green layer for green leaves, and right now it's just a process of separation, leaf from leaf, stem from stem, and blending everything. Let's go for next. This leaf behind, growing behind of the bar, so it had to be much darker, like this. And this way, color this beautiful orange and yellow color on a bud, looking more shiny right now, because I put it nice amount of blue around. Because of a more contrast, it's looking more catchy. And the next layer, I really love it. This is the darkest layer for this painting. And here you can go just a full out, you can get very nice pigmented colors from your watercolor. It can be same colors as we already used here for flowers and leaves. Let me remind you, it's a cobalt blue, it's a blue and a violet, and also it's turning into the green. Also, it's a metallic red, it's a carmine, can be dots of cadmium orange also, and we will transform these colors shade to shade. I'm really accurate while I'm following the line of petal or leaf. As soon as I created the line very accurate, I can blend color out. The darkest color I need close to the petals and leaves. And as soon as I'm spreading color on a background, there I can go for lighter, a little bit lighter shade. Beautiful blue, very shiny. Sometimes color of background will be a bit transparent, so those accents and dots we created on a very first step on a wet paper will be visible, and it will give us a really rich and beautiful result. Now my blue going into the green. Green you can mix. You can mix grass green and then turn it to the emerald green. They looking nicely together, and they looking perfect with a tiny bit of blue also. Just be accurate when you touching the outline of your leaves and flowers. Right now we can correct shapes, we can do everything. If you don't like any areas or maybe lines of pencil from your sketch still visible, you can cover it with these dark colors of a background. And as soon as dark colors showing on a paper, look on the flowers. They will shine more and more because it's just a question of contrast. Let's go. Right now I'm turning into I went from green to emerald and right now going to the bluish and Mallow red. On area of a background, colors can mix together really free because here on this area, paper staying all wet. As soon as I put color, of course, paper under it. Wetting, so color mixing nicely with the previously placed colors there. Outline here, not easy because of those pointy ends on the leaves. We have to go slowly a bit. We have to be accurate here, so I'm trying to control all lines with my pointy tip on a brush. And look, I'm handling my brush kinda close to the bristle. Again, it's a question of control. I added a little dots of water. It's just for effects. It's possible to use salt, it's possible to use napkins right now if you wanna create more interesting looking background. All those techniques I demonstrated on a planner tutorial for very beginners on my channel. You can check it. It's free on my channel. And by the way, these napkin techniques and technique with the salt kind of well known. It's giving a really interesting texture. It's not looking boring. And it's helping to flat color looking more interesting, but today we actually have no flat color here. We have colors turning into anothers. We have here beautiful gradients. So in my opinion, we don't need here napkins or salt effect. And I'm turning into the blue again. Just change your colors on your own taste, you know. If you personally prefer another, you can choose what you like. And spreading colors all around. Here I can go faster, but as soon as I'm touching leaf, as I'm touching the shape of it, I have to control my brush better, so I'm going a bit slowly than before. And I'm creating accurate shape of the leaf. Like this. Here, close to the bud, I will go with a Mallow red. Remember, right now we have to go with a very nice pigment, with a very juicy and dark colors. If before we've been looking for transparent watercolor for background, we're looking for very dark and rich colors. I want to warn you from the black, sepia and the brown. Not for all times, for all paintings, but only for this one, because we didn't use black or brown in a flower color, so we don't need them on a background. Let's create, you know, very colorful rainbow flowers here. It's possible to go with a negative painting in a very short colors, amount of colors, like only sepia and the black, maybe a little bit of blue. Also will look beautiful, bit desaturated. It depends from the what look you're gonna have in the end you're looking for. Today we go for very rich colors, many colors. Maybe later we will also create a painting with a small amount, with looking more monochromical. So there, black and sepia will go well, I believe. Just black and sepia, they like, eating of saturation. They're not showing themselves really clear. If you will mix blue and black together, blue will not look darker. It will look desaturated. If you wanna get very dark blue, you have to get more pigment from your watercolor. That is the point. So just do not go to the way to add black as soon as you're looking for deeper colors. When I joined, first time I joined art class at art school, we studied for 1 month, and straight after our teacher removed black and sepia from our boxes of watercolor in our group, and she told us we have to find our own way to create deep colors for painting. And kind of fast, as soon as we lost black color from the palette, I find out many colors can look as black from the distance. Take a look on my box. You can see there are 2 lines. First line, left line, contains colors that really visible well. It have like a yellow, light brown, it's a sienna, also it have some orange colors, also it have some red colors on it. They all recognized well on a video, right? And also I have another line from the right side. There I actually have only 1 black color there. But look, all those blue on top, recognizable not well. At least those on the top, which is violet, definitely looks as a black. Also emerald green, looking very deep. Green color, looking very, very dark. So those colors, which you can see very dark in a dry consistency, means they have no water inside or small amount of water inside, and they looking dark. That's mean this color, if you take it really pigmented, they will look very deep, so they fits well for background area for our painting. We can have a different boxes with you. I'm painting with the White Nights professional watercolor. You can have another types, another trademarks, but you can find this kind of color on your own watercolor. By the way, Model Lake Red also looking very deep, so in my opinion it's perfectly fits for background. Look how dark it's looking, right? Right now I'm painting with Model Lake Red. It actually looks same deep as dark violet or cobble blue they I used before. And I'm going all around petal here, like this. Let's go next. Here I have a tiny line. It's looking as clear white right now. Look, I'm following it. This is the top part of the petal. Remember, we have no white areas on this paper right now because on the very first step we covered everything with a very, very watery watercolor, right? We already put it there. So no white areas at all. Color everywhere. Just consistency was very, very low. And right now I'm going with a deep one. Orange. Careful with the orange and with the mix of blue. Orange and blue, they sit on opposite side of color circle. This is a theory of color. You can check designer's circle of color. It's very well known. And as soon as you're finding colors opposite each other, as blue and orange, for example, means when you mix them together, they turning almost into the black or gray. They also eating, or let's say neutralizing, saturation of each other. I know it's from my practice, from my experience, from the first year of my painting, because again I had no black. I was trying to mix different colors, was trying to find out what combinations can look close enough to the black. As I know, the closest was a dark green plus red. It's giving almost the black. Also violet and cadmium orange, looking very deep. So if we will take, for example, violet plus orange plus blue or green, for example, emerald green, this mix will look almost as a black and will have almost no saturation. So be careful, transform color into another color, but do not mix it in a single area all together, you know. Give unique spot, own place for each color, but don't mix them all in a same area like this. I'm trying to explain everything very detailed. Actually, not all people who sharing experience, not all my teachers likes to comment a lot. It's actually lots of work to comment what you're doing, and I find I'm really lacking on comments. Sometimes I couldn't understand why teacher choosing these or those, why sometimes a teacher could come to my working area, to my painting, and just remove half of my painting, actually with a sponge. Right now I can understand why, because probably I was going over detailing or too high contrast for background, you know, typical mistakes for beginners. But I was trying my best for those moments, and my teacher was removing without any word. I couldn't understand why, so with time I find out I want to share my experience with word, with the comments. A lots of tutorials possible to find without comments. And by the way, if it's boring for you, you always can turn off my comments and go with just any music you like. But at some borderlines, at some progress step, comments helping a lot. As for myself, as for me, I'm still learning. This is endless process, and sometimes for me, enough if I have just a painting process without comments, because I already know lots of techniques. But if I found something new or something I'm doing not perfect, I really need comments. Why artist choosing this color or those color? Why here he painting fast or slow? What kind of tool he think to choose next? What he planning in the future for painting he doing right now? We can't read mind of other persons, so yeah, comments I believe are helping. And just let me know, maybe you need more help from my words, or maybe for you it's enough if I'm commenting just the main steps. For me, it's very important to have a feedback from you. This way I will able to change my tutorials for better result, to help you better, to help to improve your painting skills. About how it's going right now, I basically commented everything that I believe needed to have a comments, and all we need right now it's a patience and accuracy. Lots of lines, interesting outline for green leaves costs us lots of time to complete background layer. But this is not the final layer, because we gonna have also detailing, final detailing layer in the end. So let me complete this process, and later I will also comment how and what we gonna detail. By the way, I had a couple of questions what to do in a situation when the big area not possible to paint non-stop. You can take a look on right top corner, and there I left area right now which is not completed till the end. It was easy to paint everything completely there, but I stopped, and right now area there will dry, and I will demonstrate to you how possible to complete area there, and in the end it will look kind of smooth. course, it's nice to fill area completely without any stops there. That means we will have no spots, no noticeable spots, but sometimes it's not impossible. This size of painting is small for watercolor. It's close to A4, a little bit bigger. It's 23-31 centimeters size, but most of the time I was painting on much bigger sizes, and there are only two ways to go. First, it's a bigger brush. With a bigger size of brush possible to fill areas quickly, so no need to stop, no need to create those dry border between color and empty paper. And another way to create smooth backgrounds, big areas of watercolor, it's when we painting on a fabric. I also demonstrated this technique on my channel. It's possible to find there. It's open tutorial for everyone in real time. It's anemone flower, single flower, and there I demonstrated how to paint on a fabric. Interesting technique, very interesting, helping to control watery and wetness of paper, but not possible to paint on a block. I really like an idea with a block paper. Let me spread and mix colors here. It's a bit of Muddy Lake red, blue, green. Everything I have clear enough and deep in my palette, like this. And we're done. We're done here on the right bottom corner. Spreading colors a little bit. Let me dot here some spots of Muddy Lake red. And because I like how it's looking. Like this. I think colors on top already dried enough. So let's try to continue painting there and let's see how it's gonna turn. Remember, background here still gonna be dark enough. So if you gonna continue dry area where you need to get dark colors, border between dry area and a wet area in the end gonna be not so visible. So it's not so important, are you going non-stop from the start till the end, till the finish, or you going area by area? And also what I'm usually doing, I'm trying to lift a bit of pigment I'm trying to wet area where I have a dry noticeable spots of watercolor. This way, dry color lifting a little bit, it's spreading again, reacting with water again, and this way I can get softer looking border between a previous part of background and the next one. Look, right now, border between a dry area and these new colors, not visible at all. I just put a bit of water, right? I waited till watercolor will react with water again, will lift up a little bit from the paper, and blending colors, that's it. If you have a quality paper, the process going very easy. Issues we have only when we painting on a cheap paper. Sometimes difference between a quality paper, high quality, and a cheap papers not that noticeable. But first of all, it's good quality. It's a non-acid white paper. It's a thick, and it's all about how possible to control watercolor. If colors lifting easily if you need to, this is a good quality paper. It's working well. It's giving you a lots of ways to work with watercolor. If as soon as you put a dot on a paper, it's not possible to remove at all, that means it's a poor quality, and well, I just can't recommend it to paint on it. Sometimes beginners think like, I'm not a professional, so I will get like a print paper to try my new watercolor, and it's possible to find out, new watercolor looking awful. It's not an issue of watercolor, it's an issue of paper. So you don't do this mistake. Even if you're trying something new, better to get smaller sized album, but with a nice quality paper, and just go for smaller sized paintings and watercolor sketches. I've done with the dark background, and also I dried my painting with a hair dryer. I cleaned my water and I put a new fresh napkin on my watercolor box. Also clean all your brushes. This is important because we're starting the final detailization layer. We're gonna work on top of the light areas. We're gonna give them more details and beautiful catchy moments. That means we have to be careful. We have not to bring dirty mixes from the previous layers. We've been working with the really dark colors. Right now we will go for beautiful and a light watercolor again. What I'm doing, I'm separating petal from petal, area from area. So imagine I'm trying to cut one petal from another. I'm going with a sharp edge first, and I'm blending color there where I'm gonna have a shadow, like this. I always have a bunch of napkins close to me, just the paper napkins, that helping me control wet area and helping me to leave those extra watercolor and water I don't need on a paper. It's possible to give more depth, more interesting color into it as soon as area staying wet. And it's possible to blend color from deeper tone to nothing, to the zero, with the clean brushes as we did before. Let's create another one. Right now it's a single area. I will split it with a line and I will blend shadow with a clean brush like this. Flower getting more value. Let's do it again. Pointy tip of the brush following edge that need to stay sharp. And with a bigger brush I'm blending color, very soft. If you care about sharp, noticeable spots from the water, just keep napkins close to you and press clean napkin there where you want to remove maybe some extra water or maybe some tiny bit of color you don't need there. Important, do not rub your painting with the napkins. You only have to press paper on top and that's it. Personally, I prefer toilet paper. It sounds funny, but well, toilet paper created to be very soft, have no some accidental color on it. Some napkins can have, especially those that have colors or patterns on it. It can leave a patterns on your painting. And also toilet paper getting lifting water from painting really well, really well. I just adore it. Most of the time I just putting a roll of paper close to me and I'm throwing a new sheet of paper as soon as I need a fresh one. Important to get fresh all the time when you have to lift some color or spots, because if you will use those paper napkin that already have a watercolor in it, you actually can transfer it to your work, so be careful about it. Another important moment for the final detalization layer, it's a middle, it's a center of our flowers. As soon as we put dark colors here, we totally changed contrast balance on this painting. We've been starting with the center of flowers, right? But those moments we had no other dark spots, so it was impossible to imagine what amount of contrast we will have in the future. Right now we already have here the darkest areas and we have to give more depth into the center of our flowers. So I added another layer on top. Color I used here, it's English red, and also I switched to my favorite brush. It's one of my favorite. It's a line brush. Also, I saw it at store as a brush stroke brush, but number of it really tiny, and it's give me ability to create very long and thin lines. This way I created stamens. I will repeat the same layer on other flowers. English red in the center, blending out a little bit. Then switching to the line brush and creating stamens all around. If you have this brush, you can go for number 0 or number 00 even. it's giving a similar result, but brushes with a longer bristle can paint longer lines like this. Looking pretty well. And right now, center parts of flowers with more depth, with a darker color there, sitting better into composition. Let's repeat the same step for third flower. Again, I added English red. Let me get more on the palette. And you can notice I'm mixing a tiny bit of this or those in a palette. It's up to you, actually. You can do the same. You can try to give more mixes, more shades to your details, or you can go with a single shade. And interesting moment, cadmium orange and also some other colors in watercolor, they have coverage. They are not translucent, they are half translucent, or covering colors mean really thick. They have a white as a base, so they covering colors even if previous layer darker than it. So with a cadmium orange with a thick consistency, I'm creating extra layer of stamens, and right now center of my flower looking a bit fluffy. I like how it's look actually. And also the top part here, I have to cover a little bit with the color because right now it's looking way too light. Like this, look, it's sitting well, it's sitting a bit inside in a flower. Just enough. But we have one more. Let's cover the top part a little tiny bit, and it's enough. Whew, nicely done. Let's continue detailing of petals. This process I already commented. We just have more petals here. We've done it with just one flower. We have 2 extra. All lines are visible from the sketch, so it's very easy right now to do it. And that's why I told you lines of sketch have to be slightly visible only for you, because later if lines are too dark it will be visible in the end. Personally, I prefer when lines staying invisible on a final result. Area here still a little bit wet, so I can dot color inside and color blending by itself. Here I wanna to show which petal on top and which one under it. I decided that left flower will be on top of the central one, so I'm gonna put a shadow on a central flower like this and blending. Let me shade this petal here. I will add a little tiny bit of color. I missed it because while I've been painting petals, areas around it was wet, so I didn't put any color on top. Right now I completed. And blending colors here, like this. Here also I have area looking too light. This petal somewhere behind, so it's have to be a bit darker. I will dot more color on it right now, I think. Yeah. Like this. Let's create petal line here and blend it a little bit. I'm switching brush to brush, depends from the areas I'm painting. If areas are tiny, I'm switching to smaller brush. If areas are bigger, for example, big petals was big enough, you know, they are big petals. So I changed to the bigger brush. As soon as details tinier, I can work with a smaller brush. Here I have buds, but I don't want to leave them without any details. So I will put, you know, maybe some layers looking as the petals or something like this, and blend a little bit. They are not so important, but still we have to give them something. Maybe line, petal, some element that catching a bit of attention. This is a darker color now because I decided to give a more difference to this line. Here I have two green leaves, one on top of another, but it is not that noticeable. I want to give here more accent. So I created mix of green and a blue, middle consistency, not very deep but not very light. If you have any doubts about how watercolor gonna turn, cause it's not all the time visible on a palette, I'd recommend to keep a piece of paper close to you to make a swatch of what mix you've done on your palette. You can put it there, you can check consistency, how bright it is, how dark it is, and as soon as you find shade you like, you can put it on a paper. With experience, you will see it straight on a palette. You will not need to make a swatch. But when we're learning, of course, we have to go for swatches. I've been done so many swatch papers at art school. It was like tons, really. A lot and a lot of it. So yes, it's very easy way to control color and a tone of watercolor. Right now I don't have to do it because I already can understand color from palette. But again, if you need to, right, please swatch what you're mixing. Painting process, painting learning, it's not only those that going on a paper, on a table. No, it's also how you care about your brushes. It's also how you care about your paintings. Are you cleaning well? Are you keeping them as it's need to be? Also, it's how you can control colors on your palette. Mixing process have the same important that a painting process. It's a different parts of the whole of the painting. So pay attention of this moment also. We're almost there. We almost completed our work with the petals. Time by time you can step back a little bit and check what you have for future. You can forecast and plan your future steps. And closer you getting to the final view, more you have to do it. Right now I can see I have at least 3 buds without details yet on the right side of composition. Also, I have kind of flat looking leaf on the bottom part under the flowers, so I will have to complete them also. Let's start from this dude. Tiny little future flower that just opened, and let's create him more visible. So first I divided shape of the bar and a leaf with a line, and I'm spreading darker color on the area of the leaf because leaf laying under the bar. So leaf have to be darker, like this. And spreading color. Oh, turning to the too dark. Let me spread a bit with a clear water. Yeah, looking better right now. And I will dot a bit more watercolor. Let's see. Let's put a bit more dark shadow here also, and I believe I'm happy with this area. I will tone this element a little bit because it's now too light and shiny. Let's also divide areas on the bar itself and blend to nothing, like this. I'm trying to keep palette visible and sometimes trying to see the whole painting. Tricky moment. And I divided also elements and layers on a second part. Let me take a look on the whole painting. Important moment right now. Why I have to see the whole sheet of paper, because I have to analyze, do I need to fix, to change something, and important to see all areas same time. It's helping to create a really well-balanced final result. But I want to demonstrate you what's going on a palette. Let me add a little bit of a red. It's metallic red. Yeah. Enough. I will give more shadows on the stems under the flowers. For this moment, I mixed metallic red and a green. Let me take a look. I have to understand what's going on. Painting changing all the time. With each detail, with each moment, it's changing. So we have to control it well. We are very close to the final result. So be careful at this moment, because so many times I had issue with over detailing at some tiny area. When it's happening, usually I have to give the same amount of detailing to other areas, something like this. So I have to keep a balance. Those areas I already detailed and those I'm working on right now. Amount of detailization have to be similar. And this is a bunch of buds here. I'm dividing petals, segments here as well. It's future petals. I divide them with a green, with dark green. They're looking interesting, kind of beautiful in my view. Those gradient we created before, orange into the yellow into the green, giving a very nice feeling, like a growing petals for future, like it. And dividing on different segments, one by one, blending a little bit, like this. And the last one. Done. I will correct line of leaf here a little bit, and the last moment it's a signing. I will sign with the cadmium orange as soon as this color can cover previous dark colors. easily. And for you, my dear friends, sign your paintings also. Doesn't matter if you follow tutorial or not. It's still your painting, so be proud of it. If you still have any questions about how process going, what colors I used, or maybe about some other moments from this tutorial, you're welcome. Ask me on the comments. Also, share to me your paintings through the wall of Patreon, my Facebook or Instagram, #PaintyKat. I will be very, very happy to see what you created. How to remove your painting from the block? It's very easy. First, wait till your painting will dry completely. Usually I'm using palette knife or just a simple knife. It's have to be flat because we have to be accurate with the next sheet of paper. Do not scratch it. And I'm just dividing top sheet from the block. And my painting is done. It was a PaintyKat, and I wish you all the best. Bye bye.